He wants a coffee. I'd do it.
He's not up there. That represents our
Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 9th annual ceremony, which honors this year's graduates of the Adult External High School Diploma Program. Each of the graduates, at some time during this past year, decided to complete a task which had been left unfinished, earning a high school diploma. Most of you have received your diplomas already and probably have celebrated. But tonight's event is a public affirmation that what you have accomplished is worth a great deal, not only to you, but also to your family, friends, and other graduates. Receiving your diploma is also an important event for those people who make this program possible. And I'd like to introduce these people to you. On my immediate right is Mrs. Joan Cadden, Vice President of the Anne Arundel County School Board. Mrs. Cadden is our guest speaker this evening. Next is Mr. Charles Talbert from the Maryland State Department of Education, who is responsible for all adult education in the state of Maryland. Mr. Louis Apuzio is next. He is from the Anne Arundel County Public Schools, who monitors the external diploma program in Anne Arundel County. In other words, he's my boss. Mr. John Clinton is a longtime friend of this program. Mr. Clinton is the Director of Personnel and Training for the Controller of the Treasury. Mrs. Natalie Orndorff is also a member of our advisory council and a former graduate of this program. She knows just how you feel. Mr. David Brecht is a graduate of this year, and he will speak to you later on in this program. Mrs. Thelma Cornish is a member of our advisory council who, when working with the State Department of Education, she's now retired, was responsible for bringing the external diploma program to Maryland. Dr. Naomi Reed is from the Maryland State Department of Education, who supervises the external diploma program throughout the state. She's my other boss. You may not realize it, but there are approximately 500 other people who are having a ceremony similar to this one throughout the state. Next is our host for the evening, Mr. Chuck Buttenhagen, who is the Dean of Continuing Education here at Anne Arundel Community College, and he hopes to see some of you here in the near future. Mr. Robert Harrell is our next guest, who, in addition to being a member of the Advisory Council, is also the principal of the school in Linthicum, where we have our offices. Mr. Harrell is also celebrating this month. He is retiring after 32 years in the Anne Arundel County Public School System. I think he deserves a round of applause. And finally, Ms. Lee Price is chairperson of our advisory council. His oldest son has just completed his first year here at the community college, and his youngest is at George Fox Middle School. Dave was born and raised in Baltimore City and now lives in Pasadena here in Anne Arundel County. I think Dave has a message for all of us. Dave?
graduates, distinguished guests, staff, family, and friends of the graduates. I quit school after completing the 9th grade and went into the service and then went to work for Carlari Glass Company at the age of 19. Over the last 21 years, I have worked my way up the ladder to the position of supervisor. I did not accomplish this with an education. I did this by working many hours and by being dedicated to my job. I always felt I would retire from Carlari at the age of 55 with 36 years service until 1982. In 1982, we had over 1,500 employees. Then due to foreign imports and the weak dollar overseas, my company was forced to reduce its workforce to less than 350 employees. Many of my co-workers were out of a job, and for the next 4 years, the plant experienced hard times with glass tanks going up and down, and many salaried employees were doing 2 and 3 jobs as well as their own. During these years, I kept thinking to myself, I could also lose my job, and what would I do in the future for work? Here I was, good money, good benefits, oldest son entering the first year of college, and I have no high school diploma. I started looking in the help wanted section of the newspaper, and all the good jobs required either a high school diploma or a college degree. I thought to myself, in the event I would lose my job, would I end up washing dishes in a restaurant or perhaps cooking French fries in a fast food outlet? I knew in order to make the same money, I would have to work 2 full-time jobs. I then realized unless I acquired a high school diploma, my chances were slim in finding a job with good pay and benefits like I have been receiving at Carlari. I did not want to attend evening classes 3 nights a week. I have tried this in the past with no success and ended up quitting after 2 months. In November 1986, I read an ad in the Penny Saver concerning the Maryland Adult External High School Diploma Program. I called the phone number and Ray Lawson answered. Ray said he would mail information and gave me directions to the school located in Olympicon. In early January, I received a letter stating there would be an information session on January the 21st. At the information session, I was to be prepared for an evaluation of my math and word recognition skills. I was worried I might not pass the test required due to my not knowing how to find percents or areas of a rectangle. My wife and oldest son worked with me and I learned quickly. I remember at the information session I was nervous and scared that I would not receive an acceptable score and would need to be tutored. Miss Marge said we would hear from the program within 2 weeks. If not, we should call. I called after 1 week, thinking I wanted to know early because, again, I was going to be a quitter. Miss McQuay answered the phone and said I qualified to enter the program and that an assessment specialist would call me to set up an appointment to begin the diagnostic testing. I was thrilled. And at that point of time, dedicated myself to the program. I was lucky enough to go from the diagnostic testing right into the general skills test, which started on February the 23rd. The hardest part for me in the diagnostic test was the paragraph. You see, all my life I have printed when I write, and all my letters were capital letters. I found that when I did not print, I was able to construct a paragraph and meet the requirements of the program. Some of the problems I had with the 5 tasks were at the spot check interview, such as stop breathing. Remember that one? I remembered everything except the first step, which is to wipe any obvious foreign matter from the mouth. I thought I had it down perfect and had to repeat this at the post-task assessment. On task C, I had to present proof signed by an official that I attended and observed a governing body in session at the local, state, or national level within 12 months prior to registration in the program. I had not voted in the last election and was concerned what I could do to fulfill this part of the task. I took a half-a-day vacation from work and observed a traffic court session in Glen Burnie and presented proof that I did such, and I do not speed. I remember at the spot check interview looking at a cartoon of a man trying to climb a palm tree, and at the top of the tree was a television and a pair of shoes. Ray asked, "What is the meaning of the cartoon?" And I said, the man was climbing the tree for a pair of shoes because he had no electricity on the island to plug in the TV. Finally, I arrived at the meaning. Inflation was over his head. March the 30th through April the 6th, I was in the post-task assessment phase, and on April the 27th, I was a volunteer for the information sessions. I believe it's not what the external high school diploma program can do for me, but it's what I can do for the program. I was able to persuade 12 employees at work to enter the program, and I feel if I volunteer to help at the various information sessions, this will free up an assessment specialist to devote more time with the new students. Now I would like to read something that motivated me many times in the past 4 months. Let me tell you about 2 frogs who jumped into a bucket of cream on a dairy farm in Maryland. "May as well give up," croaked one. After trying in vain to get out, "We're goners." "Keep on paddling," said the other frog. "We'll get out of this mess somehow." "It's no use," said the first. "Too thick to swim, too thin to jump, too slippery to crawl. We're bound to die sometime anyway. So it may as well be tonight." He sank to the bottom of the bucket and died. His friend just kept on paddling and paddling and paddling, and by morning he was perched on a mass of butter which he had churned all by himself. There he was with a grin on his face, eating the flies that came swarming from every direction. That little frog had discovered what most folks ignore. If you stick with a task long enough, you're going to be a winner. I would like to think of myself as the little frog who kept on paddling, and due to my paddling, I can now say I have a high school diploma. I am very proud at the age of 40 to say I have earned a high school diploma and will always promote the Maryland External High School Diploma Program. By doing this, I hope to help others feel as I do now. I have inner peace, and I know in the event I must seek other employment, I have a better chance of a good job because I am a member of the class of 1986, 1987, and right now I feel 7 feet tall, having been able to express my feelings in front of so many beautiful people. Thank you.
Jeff, don't trip. Oh, geez, is she...
Following men and women have successfully demonstrated the required competencies of the External High School Diploma Program
Look, Jeff.
and have earned their Maryland State High School Diploma.
Mark him upside the face.
Charles F. Owings, Mary Catherine Hammer, Joanne Dolores Wigington,
Yay!
Jeffrey Allen Wigington,
Yay!
Robert
Wigingtons,
Paul
right?
Hart Jr.,
Sandy's not here.
Brian
Sandy's not here.
James
She would have been another
Ramsey.
Wigington.
John Robert Kilman, Sr., Robert Anthony Harley, Sr., John Francis Bachman, wasn't so bad, was it? Mr. John Clinton agreed to come here this evening to make a presentation of a special award.
Thank you very much, Mary Jane. Distinguished guest. When Dave said distinguished guest, I thought he was going to say extinguished guest. But he didn't, fortunately, and we're going to make it. Mary Jane told me when I got ready to get in line, she said, I have some advice for you. And I said, what is it? She said, stand up so they can see you, speak up so they can hear you, and shut up so they can appreciate you. I will try to do all three. Before I present these very fine awards, I cannot resist the opportunity to say just a few words to the graduates. Part of the fun of coming to this particular occasion, I think I've come to about 7 in a row, is sitting up here and looking at the people down front. That girl in the black with the beads has smiled all night. She has not stopped. She's going to have a good time when she leaves here tonight. She probably has a good time every night. The girl in the back, the blonde, is ready to go dancing, and if you don't have any plans, she'll go tonight and celebrate. This is a happy group, and they have every reason to be happy because success is the name of the game. I would share with you a story about two very successful people. They were, with Mary Jane's indulgence, they were Roman Catholic priests. There was an Italian bishop and an American bishop, and they were talking to God, as bishops will do. The Italian bishop said, I wonder if there will ever be another Italian pope. And God said, in your lifetime, my son. And the American bishop said, I wonder if there will ever be an American pope. And God said, in your lifetime, my son. Then the Italian bishop said to the American bishop, I wonder if there will ever be a woman pope. And the voice said, not in my lifetime. Well, maybe, or maybe not. Time will tell. I was thinking as I sat up here, and I didn't have this in my prepared remarks. 1 year ago today when we met was the day that Len Bias died. And it was really strange to be in here that night because it was something that had affected an awful lot of people. And 1 year later, I can't help but think that there was a very talented young man who looked life in the face and failed. And I look at the faces of these people and I think, these are the real heroes. They look life in the face and they succeed. And that's what tonight is about, successes. There are a whole slew of success stories out here. And they are success stories that have taken a great deal of harvest. The seeds have been planted by parents and friends and tutors and teachers. And a lot of rain has fallen into some of those lives. But tonight's the night for them to be happy. And they have every reason to be. And for the graduates, I'd like to share with you a favorite poem of mine and then present those awards that Mary Jane asked me to present. The poem is called I'd Rather Watch a Winner. Dave used the phrase winner. This is an evening for winners. I'd rather watch a winner than hear one any day. I'd rather have one walk with me than merely show the way. The eye's a better pupil and more willing than the ear. Fine counsel is confusing, but example's always clear. And the best of all the coaches are the ones who live their creeds. For to see the good in action is what everybody needs. I can soon learn how to do it if you let me see it done. And I can watch your hands in action, but your tongue too fast may run. And the lectures you deliver may be very wise and true, but I'd rather get my lessons by observing what you do. For I may misunderstand you in the high advice you give, but there's no misunderstanding how you act and how you live. I'd rather watch a winner than hear one any day. So to the winners tonight, my congratulations on a job well done. Now, there are some other winners, and they are the ones that I'm to give awards to. I think the reason Mary Jane has me come back every year is because we in the Comptroller's office pay the bills. She knows that if the bills aren't paid, the program doesn't go on. So I'm glad to come give some awards to some very special people. First is a special award for a woman who is here this evening who has been associated with the External Diploma Program for 7 years. She has conducted nearly 300 individual assessments during that time. And she would get to the Linthicum Center as early as 9 in the morning or sometime as late as 7 at night, whenever she was needed. On behalf of the program, I would ask this lady to come up here, receive your applause, and I'm happy to present this very special certificate of appreciation to Mrs. Ruth Dunker. It's not on the program, but come on, you can say it.
Well, I'm so shocked I can't say anything, but it certainly has been rewarding to me, and it's so good to see you sitting out there tonight.
Then there is one other group of 3 people who are part of 11 men and women who voluntarily tutor participants in the program. They tutor you, and you know them well for the tutoring they've done in math, reading, and in English. Their expertise and their dedication have made it possible for some of you to graduate this evening. So on behalf of the graduates and the staff, I want to publicly thank them for their contribution to the success of this program. And these 3 people are all here tonight, and we have certificates for them. And I would ask them to come forward, and they are the following. Mrs. Carolyn Dorn. Ms. Eleanor Sweetman. And Mr. Charles Smith. Get them in the right order. That's Caroline, right? Okay.
You in the state of Maryland. To be an active member of this network, you need to tell others about the External Diploma Program. Many of you heard about the program because someone told you, so you can do the same for someone else. To assist you in spreading the news, there are posters available in the hall on 2 tables outside for you to distribute. So take one, put them on bulletin boards or in cafeterias at work, wherever you think someone will see them. So graduates of 1987, I charge you to tell a friend about the External Diploma Program. In order to conclude the ceremonies this evening, Mrs. Lee Price, chairperson of the Advisory Council, will read the blessing. After the blessing, would everyone remain seated except the graduates, who will leave the theater first, beginning with the last row. Please go to the student cafeteria and meet family and friends there. And the cafeteria is through the double doors at the rear of the theater and down the steps. Lee?
Lord, we ask your blessing on these graduates tonight and on the teachers, staff, families, and friends who have encouraged and supported them throughout the year. We usually speak to you, Lord, in our darkest hours, when we have problems and troubles beyond our capacity to handle, asking you to solve these problems and fix whatever is wrong. But tonight, we come to you with joy and thanksgiving. We thank you for the graduates' courage and determination, that determination that made them stick to their task and see it through. We thank you for the good health and the sound mind that made learning possible. And we thank you for the program that gave them a second chance to be a high school graduate. We're joyful tonight, Lord, for your blessings and for your making this such a happy graduation occasion possible. Amen.